Hello, Ryan here with another episode of Try My Darling, and today I'm going to be doing, I guess, a long play of the ACA Neo Geo Arcade Archives game, Mutation Nation, here on the Switch. So this game was released in '92 on the arcade MVS board and the home AES, and it was one of like the last original brawlers on Neo Geo hardware for a while. There were a lot not a lot, but there were a handful of brawlers on Neo Geo hardware between 1990 and 92, but then the brawler genre kind of chilled for a while after 92, after Street Fighter broke, and a lot of SNK's output turned to one-on-one fighting games. So, this was, they were trying a lot of original type of brawlers to kind of see what stuck. There's stuff like Ninja Combat, Burning Fight, and Robo Army, obviously Sengoku, but they were just trying a lot of like weird takes on the genre. Yeah, that's Mutation Nation. It's the one and only. It is not. It is not a series that became a series. It is a single game, so it's no King of Fighters or anything like that. But I do think it's a really fun brawler. And I think it looks pretty awesome. So yeah, obviously you can see that I went into the options and set everything to easy and set infinite continues and all that for the purpose of this long play here, because I want to play through the whole game, and might as well make it as easy as possible. I think with brawlers like Quarter Munchers of this era, I think there's something to be said for dropping that difficulty, making the enemies less damaging, and giving you more opportunities. That is why I really love in the M2's Sega 3D Classics, when they did the first two Streets of Rage games. Like, I love the one punch mode that lets you just kind of go through and knock out any enemy with one punch, because it really helps you move through the games quickly, so that if you're just into the idea of playing through, experiencing the world, and just beating some dudes up, it's a good way to do it. So yeah, as you can see, like I have it on difficulty level 1, and the enemies are going down pretty quickly, but I love the enemy variety in this game because they are like all weird, like mutated versions of like normal humans and animals. Like, I think that's a lot more like you're still fighting your leather jacket wearing thugs, but now they have like weird tentacle arms, and that's pretty cool. But as you can see, like, you can charge up attacks, which is interesting because this game only has one attack button. There's no like punch or kick thing happening here. Yeah, you just have one attack button, and it all depends on how long you hold it down. But also, when you are attacking, you can kind of string together combos by, you know, really pounding on that button. Same thing with jumps. The jumps are all kind of, I guess, like context for pressure sensitive. The longer you hold down the jump button, the higher you jump. So I think it's a cool use of a very simple 2-button setup. So, you know, because of the sort of 2-button nature of the game, I'm kind of sad and surprised that there was never like a portable version of the game for, you know, like either like a Takara developed like Game Boy or Game Gear port, or later on a Neo Geo Pocket version. Like, that would have been pretty sweet, but never happened, sadly. But, I mean, I guess now with the Nintendo Switch, you kind of have a portable version of the game, thanks to the ACA Arcade Archives. Thanks, Hamster, for finally righting that wrong of no portable Mutation Nation. I don't know, maybe it appeared on like a Japanese PSP collection or something. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with those SNK. I know there was some. I know that in Japan there was the SNK arcade. What is it called? I don't know. Best of SNK Volume 1 or whatever, which there was only one volume, but it came out on like PS2, Wii, and I think the PSP one came out here. But there was also, I think there was like a Volume 0 that came out on PSP in Japan. I'm not super sure what's on that though. So maybe Mutation Nation. But there were also, I think M2 developed the like Neo Geo Station games for PS3, and I think those came to PSP. But I don't know if this game was on there. I feel like the Neo Geo Station stuff mostly covered the usuals, the stuff you'd expect, your King of Fighters 94 and Sam Show and Fatal Fury, that kind of stuff. But I could be wrong. Yeah, I think what's like really what really holds up about this game is, well, I think it looks awesome. First of all, like I really like these visuals, but the movement and combat just feels really smooth and responsive, especially kind of compared to some of its contemporaries on the hardware and from the same developer. Like I was just last night I was playing the first Sengoku, and like I was surprised how kind of stiff and fussy that game feels. You know, I still like it a lot, but compared to this, like this is so much smoother and just plays better. I love those infinite continues. Yeah, so you're at, like, I guess, attack that happens when the button is held down. It's based on whichever letter you have. Ooh, I like that one, actually. I think I'm gonna stick with that. But as you can see in the top left corner, there's a finite amount of those that I can use. There's a lot of Freddie Mercurys right there. Like Freddie Mercury looking dudes, I should say. I do like how with my character right now, with his life bar being kind of low, that he's got a different idle animation. It's pretty cool. Whereas like now that I have a full life bar, he's pretty pumped. Uh-oh, into the disco. Oh my goodness. That is something else. Wow. Four-armed disco mutant that shoots bugs out of her something? I guess it's her stomach. She has a gash, I guess. There's no good way to describe this. Wow. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I think this game would be a fun one to try to do the high score mode and caravan mode for. And if you've never done those, high score mode is basically how long can you survive on on 1 credit basically, and then how high is your score, and there's online leaderboards for it, which is cool. You have to get like a minimum score to kind of get on the leaderboards. And then caravan mode is when you play for 5 minutes, and it's how far or how high of a score you can get in 5 minutes. But yeah, I love those modes. I love I buy a lot of these arcade archives, and I always on the games I really like, I try to get on that high score leaderboard, leave my mark on the world. But yeah, I recorded a video, I don't know, a week or 2 ago of one of my biggest struggles, which was getting onto the Z-Blade leaderboard here on Switch. Z-Blade is an awesome Neo Geo side-scrolling shoot 'em up, and it was really challenging to make it on that leaderboard. But I have a video of a few attempts. So if you want to check that out, just head over to that Nintendo Fun Club podcast YouTube channel, I guess, where you're probably watching this. Yeah, I don't know, like obviously, if you listen to the podcast or anything, like I love SNK, I love Neo Geo, and I love the Switch, so I really enjoy playing and talking about these arcade archives on Switch, but I don't know what's for like videos. I don't know what's more interesting to watch, like a long play like this where I'm talking, or recording a long play where I don't talk at all. I can definitely see the appeal in that, or recording videos where I'm trying to get on the high score. Leaderboards. So I don't know if you're watching this and you have suggestions or stuff you'd rather see, let me know. Obviously, like I felt like the high score, the leaderboard stuff, I mean, it's kind of self-indulgent, which is why I don't like it. But also, like, I feel like there's a ton of long plays for these games already out there. And like I don't mind adding to that pool. But I don't know what would get these games, what people would enjoy watching, and get these games the exposure that I feel like they should, that they deserve. I'm a big proponent of these games. I love that Hamster's releasing like a Neo Geo game a week on the Switch, and it's it's kind of the bulk of my Switch library, but it's so awesome to be able to play these games both portably and on a TV or in tabletop mode. So I think like the Switch is like like the the best way to play these games, and I don't mind buying them because, especially I own a ton of these games on other platforms. Like I have a massive Neo Geo collection on the Wii Virtual Console on my, that transferred over to my Wii U. But I think, like these ports are so good because, like I said, the high score mode, caravan mode, being able to switch between the English and Japanese versions of the games, all the options. Yeah, I should mention I'm playing. I've started playing all of my Neo Geo games with the Scanline A1, I believe is the option that I choose. So it's like the least amount of scan lines, but playing now, I don't know how, I know some people like just playing like completely unfiltered sprites. I think the default like smoothing, I'm not a huge fan of. I definitely started playing these Neo Geo Arcade Archives with no filter whatsoever. Like I guess just off mode. But I've really come around on the scan lines in moderation, so like the lowest amount here. But whatever works for you. But I think these games look great, whether in portable mode or on a screen. Like I'm playing this on a 1080p monitor for the purposes of recording this video, computer monitor, and I think it's lovely. We've come a long way from some of the ports that were dropping of Neo Geo games, even a decade ago. I had revisited some of the Xbox 360 ports because, which is really cool. They're available on, they're backwards compatible on the Xbox One. So you have stuff like Mark of the Wolves and Sam Show 2, KOF 98, Metal Slug 3, like. But like those ports are so like varying in quality. Like the Metal Slug 3, it's got like a smoothing filter on by default, and the game plays fine and stuff, but it's so hard for me to play it that way because it just looks so wrong. I can't handle it. But I think these Hamster Arcade Archives are just perfect. Because you have so many options. So like whatever looks right to you is how you can play it. They make me very happy. So anyways, I guess going back to my original point is, I want these games to be talked about. I want them to be, I want to be an advocate for these games, and with the very small reach that I have, because I feel like most Switch owners like are fans of retro games, but and can appreciate old games, at least like within my friend group, and yeah, I want people to check these games out because they're awesome, and it's so great just having stuff like this on your Switch for like quick pick up and play sessions. That was a total waste of that special, but hey, I have a bunch. This is a much better use of that special. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the Switch is the best way to play Neo Geo games outside of like having a 4-in-1 MVS cabinet in your living room, which is something I desperately want one day. But I don't see that happening in my future anytime soon. I've definitely been talking way too much in this video, and you may not have noticed pretty sweet soundtrack. Some pretty rockin' synth riffs there. I like it. Oh my god. I think this might be the last boss. Got some synth double bass drums. Yikes. Yeah, this definitely feels very Last Boss-esque. Yeah, I've never actually played all the way through this game. This is my first time. God, I don't know. I feel like there's so much sprite art from SNK from this time period that like I feel like could be made into an animated GIF and like hung up in a museum. Like, cause man, that is like so cool looking. That boss there. There he goes. Oh, awesome explosion too. Oh no. Definitely not the last boss. Huh. Cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, 4 stages seems kind of short, even though, like, I feel like these stages have been fairly long. I'm not sure where we're at as far as time right now, but I feel like most brawlers are like, 6 to 7 stages. But this is usually the point where, I feel like with this genre, the first 3 stages are the ones that, where all the enemies are introduced. You usually see like the coolest effects and the coolest, I don't know, like backgrounds and all of that sort of thing. And then it's usually like the last few stages where it's just sort of, you're in a warehouse or a subway or whatever, like a less interesting environment, and you start getting the recolored, repeated enemies, which, as you can see here, is no different. And I think the reason for that, like, it makes sense when you're thinking about like development resources and stuff of the time period. Like, you gotta figure most players are, in these arcade games are only going to get to, the first couple of stages. The hardcore are going to keep pumping quarters in. But after a certain point, like, I think most Mutation Nation arcade players, is the sewer. Another staple. Hey, actually, that is a new enemy. Huh. Most Mutation Nation players probably, only played through the first couple of stages. They weren't really getting to stage 5, so, I don't think developers would want to backload the game with like the coolest stuff at the end, because most players won't see it. These guys are goofy. But that's still an interesting dilemma for like modern game developers today, because there's been a lot of talk, and it's so easy to track statistics for modern games because of like achievements and trophies and like how those are tracked, that you can see like what percentage of your players like actually finish your game. And it's crazy, like even just some of like the anecdotal research I've done just on my like PS4 and Xbox One, like seeing like the super low percent of players who finish like even like some of the best regarded games out there, like like modern AAA games like Last of Us and BioShock and stuff. Like those games, they're kind of lauded for their stories, and in the case of Last of Us, like it's really lauded for its ending, but like the vast majority of people who play that game don't ever see that ending. They never finish it, which is I don't know, that's a tough dilemma. I mean, I know I'm super guilty of that. Like, I rarely finish games, like modern games. But there's just too much. There's too much to play. And, like, it's a really good problem to have, but there's too much quality out there in like gaming right now, and there's it's especially challenging if you're like me and like super interested in old games and revisiting old games, because there's more old games every day. Whoa, this is cool. Maybe this is the last boss. Seems like he has last boss potential. No, he's too easy though. Like I could see him being the mastermind behind this Mutation Nation of sorts. Whoa. Here is your graveyard. Huh. I wonder if this is the... Oof. Wow, this is like... I wonder if this is like a boss rush mode or something like the boss rush ending section. These sprites, like they're so insane. Like, how do you like first think about something like this, and then how do you like create it in 1992 with that technology available? Like, I'm just so impressed by game developers of this era. You know, especially on the Neo Geo hardware. Yeah, it looks like this is gonna be a boss rush mode because here comes the disco lady, the problematic disco lady. Yeah, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of boss rush modes in games. You know, I don't really like the whole Mega Man Afterburner, or not Afterburner, ActRaiser, Devil May Cry, like repeated, you know, repeated bosses, revisiting bosses, boss rushes. Not a huge fan. But you know, by the time you're at the boss rush mode, it's usually at the end, and it's like, you know, you've come this far. Like, no one wants to give up at that point. That's why I feel like developers can get away with putting a boss rush mode at the end, because it's like, already played so far. I wonder if this is the actual final boss here. I don't know, he seems super easy again. But like, this was the dude in that cutscene, yeah? I love this music. Okay, this is annoying. I'm not loving those attacks. This is so oh my god, stop. Okay, maybe this is the final boss, because this is, like, beyond ridiculous. This is what I think of when I think of SNK final bosses. Just pure frustration and helplessness. Okay, that was not the final boss. Man. This is exciting. Oh, there we go. Whoa, this is the final boss. I can safely say this is the final boss. Okay, that was the dude from the cutscene, and oh my god, this is so awesome looking. This is like the quintessential Japanese action game boss from like the late 80s, early 90s. Like, you have your H.R. Geiger inspired alien phallic stuff happening. Yeah, it's perfect. Pretty frustrating. Hard to get in there for some hits, but not too bad. Oh yeah. Whoa. That's awesome. We did it! The Mutation Nation is no more. It is just a regular nation without mutation. Thank you, SNK. You can hope next our game. See you again. Okay. I love it. The end, comma. Okay. Sure. Okay, well, yeah. That was Mutation Nation. Pretty fun game. Available now on your Nintendo Switch for $7.99. Cool. Well, thank you for tuning in. If you want to check out more of our, I guess, SNK coverage, listen to the podcast. We pretty much talk about at least one SNK game every episode. You can find our podcast, NintendoFunClubPodcast.com, or check it out, search for it on iTunes or Google Play or whatever podcast stuff you use. Oh, I guess I'm playing again because I still have like 80 credits because I just had been slamming on the button. Videos, yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know like what kind of videos are most interesting. If you'd rather me just record long plays without talking, I will not be offended by that. Or if you are into like the high score challenge, or if you just like these super rambly long plays, let me know. Sound off in the comments, as they say. And yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at Brawndwarf, BRAWNDWARF. So, yeah, that's about it. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye.